I'm not
How's it
finished.
going?
Hold on.
You want to just start over?
What I'm doing. Wait, we're here for the second episode of Maxim's Backdoor podcast, and for the second episode, we're doing the interview audition of my potential second guest, Andrew Freed. Andrew, thank you for being here.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me. You said, so we are doing the podcast though, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
You're frozen.
I'm frozen. Can you
You
hear
said
me?
audition?
Yeah. So the last podcast I did, the first episode, was a little bit of a disaster. And I thought yeah, but why am I just selecting guests and not filtering them first, So I thought maybe it would be good if I do auditions before I have the people on. So, I just want you to, before you're on the podcast, I want you to audition for
So
it.
this isn't the actual podcast.
No, this is the audition. So, because I don't know what you're gonna do, or I don't know what your thing is. I want to avoid the disaster that was the first podcast. That's the first episode.
Okay. I was all excited to be on your pod. So.
Well, I mean, it's not lost yet. You can still do your best,
Yeah.
Kind
of weird. Kind of a weird.
What do you mean weird?
Lane to be in. I mean, I'm going to be judging myself now.
Yeah, but how do you do it on your podcast?
I don't really have a podcast.
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't really do podcasts. I don't even really listen to podcasts. So
you don't have a podcast?
Nah. Me and Micah and Nick, who I think we had one, but we haven't done it for a while. Kind of fell off.
Well, what do you do then?
What do I do?
No, what do you do if you don't have a podcast? What do you talk about?
You mean just in my life? I talk to people I know, and
yeah.
I talk about all kinds of things. Sports.
To whom?
Movies.
But to whom?
To whom?
Yeah.
People in my life, my friends, my family, my girlfriend.
Okay, so this is okay. I'm glad we're doing the audition. Okay. So do you want it or not? You can, if you don't want to be on the podcast, you can just leave, No,
I would love, okay. I mean, no, I'd like to, let's do it. And if it's good, you can just use this as the podcast.
Well,
I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah. Well, just make sure your attitude is a bit positive, unless, have a positive attitude. Okay. Because I think that's important. I'm going to rate you on positivity.
I'll try.
So, all right. Thank you. Welcome.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
If you imagine you would be on the podcast, what would you talk about?
Whatever you ask me about, right? Don't you ask me questions and I answer them, or you want me to give you a topic?
I asked you a question and you hit me back with another question. This is not, I just asked you, what would you talk about?
Like I said, man, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, so I'm not but isn't that kind of how they go? You ask each other questions, and since it's your podcast, I feel like you should probably.
Well, yeah, I just asked you a question. The question is, what would you talk about in a podcast?
Okay, that's a great question. I would probably, talk about maybe ancient civilizations, or the nature of time, if there's free will or not. maybe the Detroit Lions,
Mm.
uh, maybe like uh upcoming project, like I'm shooting this little like web series proof of concept thing with my friend in New York. I would maybe talk about
Okay, yeah, but
that.
no, you can't, don't plug, just
Oh, well, I mean, that's like the
subject.
fourth thing I said. So
All right. Detroit Lions, ancient civilizations. Are you an expert in any of those fields?
no, not really. I mean, I'm just more of like like an enthusiast.
Like, and do you where do you get your information from like, say, the civilizations?
Just like, the internet, Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. I really like that. I really dig that show. Um,
Do you have a job?
yeah, but I mean, I don't work that much, you know.
All right, good. Next question. So say
Are we gonna talk about one of those or
no.
okay.
No.
All right.
All right. So imagine we're on the podcast and
Okay.
I say something, uh, I say something that you disagree with.
Hmm.
How would you handle that?
Well, I mean, I'd stay positive, like you said, I'd still try to be I do what you'd say and try to be positive. I would say, I see where you're coming from. Maybe I'd say something like that, like, huh, that's interesting. Like, Maxim, like, I really understand where you're coming from. And like, I've heard that point of view before. But for me, and then I would kind of, without saying I disagree with you, I would say what I think, kind of keep it in a positive
You would
vein.
say your opinion after you disagree with my opinion.
Well, look, I mean, you want to like do a little
Yeah,
rehearsal? Like,
yeah, let's do it.
what's something you'd say that I would definitely wouldn't agree with,
There are no ancient civilizations.
Okay. Let me try. Well, Maxim, that's actually an interesting perspective that I have not heard yet. Um, and just where I'm coming from, there's like a lot of evidence and there's a lot of like data that suggests that there were ancient civilizations. For me, I don't really think that our civilization just kind of materialized without anything to build on. So that's kind of where I'm coming from on that.
Right, good. Now, you sometimes it may be needed in a podcast that you tell a story about your childhood, but that you try and make relevant to the conversation we're having.
Mm,
You can't just start a story about your childhood for no reason. That's
right.
weird. It has to be relevant to what we've talked about. So, say we are talking about Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze, and that girl with the nose, and we talk about that, and then you feel the need to have a story about your childhood. How would that go?
Okay. Uh, you're talking about Dirty Dancing. I'm like, oh, Patrick Swayze was in that movie Ghost too, right?
Yeah.
And when I was little, actually, when I was a child, I, had a lot of experiences with ghosts. And,
Oh,
you know, like I even had a ghost one time turn on the light and scared me.
how did you know it was a ghost?
Because there's no one else there. And the light just turned on. And I was just talking about the ghost in the other room, and the light turned on in the other room. And I went in and I looked at the light, and it was like one of those push in light switches. And when I looked at it, it popped out and the light turned off.
And why Can you add a little more? Because, can you can you add a little more trauma to it? Because I think trauma is what childhood stories like. You only remember trauma. Like, what did the ghost do? What he just turned on the light?
Yeah.
I
It was
mean,
scary, man. Ever since then, I believed in ghosts.
and how does that affect your life now? Hypothetically.
You know, if I had to guess, I would say that it's made me a much more, spiritual person, more, more superstitious, maybe.
Mhm.
You know, always questioning the reality I see with my eyes and hear with my ears.
So what do you think, like,
There's a lot more going on, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm only like getting about 10% of what's going on.
and those ghosts, like, because the ghosts are, okay, they're switching on the lights. Well, why are they switching on lights? And if they are switching on lights, and presuming ghosts are like a thing from since the beginning of man, what were they switching on in the ancient civilizations?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they understand the concept of electricity.
Well, first of all, ancient civilizations, in my opinion, did have electricity. Maximum. I for one, I believe that the pyramids were big power plants, hydroelectrical uh, power plants.
Hydroelectrical in the
What's that?
hydroelectrical.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but yeah,
I think it's
harnessing.
fine, but
They were harnessing energy, light in the city.
all right, this is not
That would
going
be a
to
good topic right there. Talking about.
hydroelectricity, but I don't even know how that works. I'm not going to talk about hydroelectricity on the podcast.
Okay.
This podcast is like a backdoor into the world. Okay, my backdoor into the world, and it has to be about things that are relevant. Nobody cares about hydroelectricity. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What if there's a podcast? We're in the podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine we're in the podcast, and there's a moment of surprise. You surprise me and you leave me agape. I'm like,
Oh, agape.
is that the word?
Like your mouth is agape.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
surprise you.
you
That's
have to
big
say
news.
something that leaves me agape. And that, because we need moments of surprise in the podcast, as a narrative, it has to be like, yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta say, you want me to try to say something that surprises you?
Yeah. Or not just me, the audience, it's not just me you're talking to.
What's a big surprise? Well, I mean, what I just said, the pyramids.
But per
being a power
definition, if
plant.
you already said it,
Yeah, it's true.
it's
I
not a
mean,
surprise.
when I was a little kid, I tried to kill my cat. Yeah, I was a little shit, and I didn't like grow up into being like a serial killer or anything, but like I pushed my cat off this high
I don't
balcony.
like, the thing is, if you say that, you will lose all the audience will be like, he is a cat killer. He's most likely uh like still a criminal in some way.
Yeah.
You have,
Okay.
and I wouldn't want cat killers on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
It's not a cat. Okay,
Well,
this,
I mean, I'm trying to think of how I'd surprise without, like a positive surprise. Like, hey, I just, by the way, my girlfriend's pregnant.
Oh, congratulations. That's good. That's positive.
with that.
Uh, that's
It's not
positive.
true, but
And then you have to say something like that is even more amazing. You have to double up on that.
and we're gonna get an abortion.
Okay, that's negative again. I mean, for some. I mean, I think it's negative, but some people.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fly on the seat. I mean, these are tough.
Yeah. I mean, but podcasting is, you see,
Usually,
podcasts.
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, you cut me
but-
off. That's also something you can't do.
Sorry.
You see, like I'm trying to raise the level of podcasts because in movies, it's a tough business and everybody has to, like, there's a lot of people wanting to be in movies and they all have to audition. And it's a cutthroat business, as you know.
Mhm.
And the reason why podcasts aren't good yet is because there's no cutthroatness to the process. Everybody just goes on the podcast without any filtering, and that can't happen. So we need to increase the level of quality, and this is what's happening. So all right, this you
Cut you off, so I just waited.
okay, we need more emotions maybe. So you share something that makes you mad about the world, or you become mad about something about the world physically. Not at me, just at the world,
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
All this plastic in the ocean, man.
Man.
It's fucking pissing me off. Can I swear?
Yeah,
It's fucking pissing me off. Like, isn't that so sad? Like, they test people now, and like almost like every single person on the planet has like this trace amount of like plastic in their blood or whatever.
Man,
And there's no way to clean it up. They're these tiny little beads. It just like infuriates me.
oh, oh man, plastic. I just wanna when the people who make the plastic, I just want to fucking smash their tires and go into their homes and fondle with their cat until it.
I'm glad you said cats. Yeah. I'm also mad at myself, So I use plastic.
Oh.
It's like the most frustrating thing is just like I'm not smart enough to think of a solution, I have all this pent up energy and I want to do something. But anything I can think of that I can do personally isn't enough, It's just it makes me so mad. Were you done? Are we not talking about this anymore?
Yeah, I was just waiting until you actually got mad because you were saying you got mad, but there was no like I mean, you need to show a bit more.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like raise my voice or something?
Yeah. We need to, because it's these clips and of emotions that go viral.
I'm so pissed when last time I was in New York City, there's all this fucking trash on the track. And it's just like a microcosm for the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's like there's a sign right next to this guy that says throwing trash on the tracks causes track fires. This guy finishes a 20-ounce bottle, just chucks it. There's a trash can. He practically threw it over the fucking trash can into the fucking goddamn track. It's like, what the hell is wrong with people? You know what I mean? It's hopeless. You see something like that, you're just like, there's no solution. People are getting dumber. Trash is piling up. There's more of us. billions by the day. What the fuck are we gonna do about this?
I don't know, man.
Can I even have kids? Can I even have kids? I can't have kids. They want to fucking live on trash, grow up and live on Trash Island, go visit my grandkids on Trash Island out in the fucking Pacific. Drink little fucking water rations around the fucking. Was that better?
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
All right, thank you.
Overall,
I got sweat paint.
that's
sweat.
when you know the emotion. That's the emotions.
Yeah, I really got to go in there.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'll talk to your associates. People.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
talk to your people and we'll let you know what
That's
happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm doing a lot, I'm pretty busy, so like I kind of made a time for this, you know what I mean? Like in the middle, like
well,
really hoping this would be the pod. But if yeah, let me know, man. I mean, I'd love to do it again.
well, let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's
A little
positive.
positive energy.
That's good.
Thanks
You
for having me,
should-
Maxo. That's how I'd end it.
Maybe you should have used it like a bit earlier, that positivity.
I really enjoy the pod. I love listening to it. And thanks
It's
so much
okay.
again for having me on.
It's too late. It's too late. Okay.
Okay.
All right.